I returned home for Thanksgiving after spending 5 years overseas. My family failed to pick me up, did not reserve a seat for me, and presented me as the individual who chose to leave in disappointment. My aunt expressed her disdain. "It seems you have chosen to make an appearance. Please do not anticipate a cordial reception." My cousin became upset. "What brings you here today? Your return was not anticipated by anyone." Even my own mother expressed a desire for the evening to proceed smoothly for all involved. I smiled and assured them that I would not repeat this mistake in the future. 2 months later, I executed a strategy they did not foresee. Last night, I received a message. There is a significant level of concern among individuals. I kindly request your response. Let me proceed directly to the matter at hand. I am feeling quite frustrated and would appreciate the opportunity to express my thoughts in a setting outside of my group chat. They have expressed their fatigue with this narrative already. To provide some background, I have not returned home in 5 years. I have a strong dislike for my family. Various personal matters, including the pandemic, financial concerns, and employment issues. Subsequently, I relocated to Berlin, and it seemed as though I merely blinked, and half a decade had passed. We do not conduct FaceTime calls or similar communications. Typical family group messages, along with the occasional meme shared by my cousin Kelly. I was genuinely looking forward to returning, anticipating it would resemble those emotional posts where individuals embrace and express their feelings at the airport. That is not acceptable. The initial unusual occurrence. I communicated with the family group chat upon my arrival at the airport, informing them of my presence. No response received. I paused briefly and reviewed my phone. The sole communication I received was from my mother. Only Uber. We are currently engaged in preparations. I initially perceived it as a jest. It was not. I took my suitcase and proceeded to the pickup area, anticipating a surprise or some unexpected gesture, but there was none. I waited for 15 minutes, called my mother, and reached her voicemail. Impressive. I arranged for an Uber to the residence, which takes approximately 30 minutes. I must admit, I was already feeling quite frustrated, but it is what it is. I attributed it to typical family disorder. I arrived, approached the entrance, and found that no one attended to the door. I entered the premises. The aroma of turkey permeates the living room. The voices of all individuals can be heard emanating from the dining room. I enter the room, and the conversation continues uninterrupted. No acknowledgement upon your return. There is no information to provide. I remain in place for a moment. Extremely uncomfortable. Finally, my Aunt Bernice looked over and remarked, "Oh, you have chosen to make an appearance. Prepare for a less than cordial reception." I initially perceived her comment as a joke, which prompted a light-hearted response from me. Negative. Absolutely serious. My cousin Jared glances up from his phone and asks, "What brings you here?" "It appears there was a lack of interest in your return." My mother, seated at the end of the table, remarked, "Please do not spoil the evening for everyone." I had been in the house for approximately 2 minutes. I search for a seat, but none are available. It appears that the arrangement has been made for all individuals except for myself. The children's table is also at capacity. I inquired about the availability of another chair, to which my mother responded that they were uncertain if I would indeed attend. "You consistently fail to attend events." I have missed a few weddings and similar events, but it was not intentional. Traveling back from Europe for a weekend presents significant challenges. I attempt to provide an explanation, but Bernice interrupts me, stating that no one is interested in hearing my justifications. "We are pleased to see that you have embraced your origins." I find myself positioned in the doorway, holding my bag, and the sole individual who extends an offer for a seat is my cousin Kelly. However, she is situated between the younger children, leaving no available space. Her father, my Uncle Lane, simply states that eating can occur afterward. Food remains available in the kitchen. I placed my bag down and remained standing there, feeling somewhat foolish. I likely should have exited at that moment, but I preferred to avoid creating a disturbance. I proceed to the kitchen. There is a plate of cold mashed potatoes accompanied by some unusual green beans. I can hear them in the dining room. They are discussing me as if I am not present in the room. Bryce has returned. It will be interesting to see how long he will endure this time. He may believe he has surpassed us at this point. I trust he will refrain from initiating further disputes. The voice of my mother once more. Please refrain from discussing politics. It is understood how he tends to react. Could you please provide more details? I had not communicated anything beyond a simple greeting. I typically eat while standing by the sink, engaging with my phone. It is somewhat amusing, albeit in a rather unfortunate manner. Whenever individuals enter to order a drink, they tend to overlook my presence. At one moment, my cousin Jared encounters me and fails to offer an apology, merely regarding me as an obstacle in his path. I inquired about my room, and my mother informed me that it has been converted into a sewing room. Your belongings are located in the garage. She hands me a key. I went to the garage and found 3 boxes labeled with my name in permanent marker on the side. A significant portion of it consists of items I no longer recall possessing. I find myself seated on a folding chair in the garage, browsing TikTok and questioning the purpose of my presence here. I can hear laughter coming from within. At that moment, the door opened, and my aunt emerged. Upon seeing me, she simply shook her head and remarked that some individuals struggle to manage genuine family dynamics. It seems that Europe has had an impact on you, I remark. Your understanding of the topic appears to be lacking. She expresses her frustration with a roll of her eyes and then returns indoors. I return for dessert, anticipating a relaxed atmosphere, but upon entering, I found everyone engaged in a family photo session. I attempted to join the group, but my Uncle Lane suggested that I might want to sit this one out. Bryce, your absence has been significant enough that we may lose sight of your identity. Individuals express amusement. It is that insincere, mocking laugh. I simply exited the premises. I overhear my mother remarking that he tends to be quite dramatic. This is the reason he struggles to maintain friendships. I close the front door firmly. I return to retrieve my backpack, and I noticed my cousin Jared was at the refrigerator. He gazes at me and states, "So what? Are you considering leaving once more?" I inform him that I am not running. I would prefer not to be in this situation. He pushes past me as he exits the kitchen. It is not overly challenging, it serves merely to emphasize a point. I refrain from pushing back, yet I maintain a steady gaze at him. He merely offers a smirk. Nungle. I felt the urge to strike him, yet I refrained from doing so. I reserve a room at the Holiday Inn located nearby and gather my belongings from the garage. My mother messages me, advising that I should not make this about myself, Bryce, and to simply express gratitude for being allowed to attend. I do not respond. I place the key on the counter and exit without bidding farewell to anyone. That concludes my significant family reunion. After 5 years, I am treated as if I am an unwanted outsider. To be honest, I previously considered the possibility of returning permanently in the future, but at this point, I believe I am ready to move on. I will ensure this matter is addressed thoroughly. I will not allow them to mistreat me and simply walk away. I have several strategies in mind to ensure they reconsider their decision. I will not remain idle or dwell on negativity. I will provide updates if there is interest in how this situation develops. Please make the necessary edits. Yes, I understand that some families exhibit such behavior, but really? I did not take any actions that warranted this outcome, other than relocating. They have consistently expressed dissatisfaction regarding the matter. My mother, in particular, often believed that I was forsaking her for a more sophisticated urban lifestyle. They all behave as though I am indebted to them for my departure. I am expected to address all issues during my visit: technology matters, financial matters, and other related topics. I have reached my conclusion. If you have any inquiries, please feel free to reach out. I have the documentation to support my claims. I will not allow this matter to be overlooked. Revision 1. This is the update that has been requested by some individuals. I must admit, I am still quite upset. I am uncertain if this can be classified as revenge at this point, but it is certainly not an act of forgiveness. To be honest, I find it difficult to understand how individuals accept such treatment and simply dismiss it with the notion that family is family. No, that is not how I am inclined. If you have seen my previous post, You are already aware of the situation that unfolded. Thanksgiving did not go as planned. I departed and did not reflect on the past. However, my family did not suddenly change their behavior for the better as a result. I was not present. The tone of the text has become increasingly passive-aggressive. It appears that my decision to leave early and create a disturbance may have contributed to the situation's deterioration. Hello, what truly prompted my reaction was a group text that my Aunt Bernice sent about a week later. She inquired, "Bryce, now that you have returned to the country, could you assist Uncle Lane with the property taxes and another individual?" I believe it was added by Jared. Please address the issue with Dropbox. I am unable to access my files. There was a complete lack of recognition regarding the fact that I had essentially been sidelined during dinner. A list of requested items. Consistently reliable. It may be challenging for individuals from smaller families to fully understand this perspective. However, when you are the individual who departed, you often find yourself positioned as their contingency for any complex situations. They behave as though I have forsaken them. However, they assign me every unusual technical issue or administrative task. My mother has been consistently reminding me about her email account. Bernice seeks assistance with her taxes annually. Jared appears to believe that I should organize his PDF files for him. Before Christ, I possess a strong understanding of computers. I effectively resolved their issues from another continent for several years. Unfortunately, I was met with sarcasm upon my arrival. I have concluded that this matter is resolved. I will not engage in any tasks unless I am treated with respect and dignity. Not a discreet breakdown. I have clearly communicated my point. I responded in the group chat, indicating that I will not be assisting with any tasks until an apology is offered regarding Thanksgiving. No reply received. They dismissed it as if I were being overly dramatic once more. Following a 2-day interval, my mother sends a private message. This matter does not pertain to you, Bryce. Your family requires your active involvement. I do not respond. This does not constitute an apology. I begin to consider, what is the true leverage in this situation? It encompasses more than just the minor details. I have served as the unofficial problem solver for an extended period. They are unaware of the extent to which they depend on my contributions. All the documentation, the shared drives, the assistance provided, and the instances where I have intervened during missed deadlines or challenges with web portals. I am not referring to actions such as canceling their streaming services or confiscating a charger. Essential documents, files, and the necessary paperwork that become crucial during tax season or when facing potential fines from the HOA. I initially chose not to respond. It may seem trivial, but one would be astonished at how quickly items can accumulate. Uncle Lane has begun messaging, indicating that he is unable to access his online account. He is currently unable to access his account and has requested assistance with resetting it. I simply do not respond to his messages. My phone has been receiving an overwhelming amount of notifications for the past 2 days. When Jared calls, I allow the call to go to voicemail. He leaves a message indicating his awareness of my frustration, suggesting that I should take the high road. He consistently states that whenever he desires something, Bernice follows closely behind. She has sent a detailed email regarding her tax documents being located in the family Dropbox, expressing difficulty in locating them. Her accountant is requesting previous receipts. I reviewed the Dropbox, and it is disorganized. I had been the sole individual responsible for maintaining its organization. Others tend to leave items scattered without consideration. I refrain from handling it. I have forwarded her email to the entire family in the hope that someone may be able to assist them. I received this message from my mother. Could you please resolve the entire matter? I am being threatened with late fees. I am uncertain about how to respond to these. I respond, you mentioned not to spoil the evening for anyone. I will refrain from involvement in this matter. She does not respond to my messages. Kelly, the only cousin who seems relatively normal, I suppose, direct messages me on Instagram, inquires about the situation. I inform her that she was present. It is evident that they have all contributed to the situation, and now there is an expectation for me to resolve the issues at hand. She acknowledges that it was unfortunate, but understands that their behavior is often a result of stress. I assert that I will not be treated as a punching bag nor as a personal assistant. She responds with a thumbs up emoji. After a week, the group chat has predominantly become a forum for expressing frustrations regarding the overall confusion. No one expresses an apology. The topic of Thanksgiving is no longer addressed, yet the atmosphere feels unsettled. I begin receiving calls from unfamiliar numbers. I choose to disregard them. I believe they assumed I would simply move on, but I have evolved beyond that perspective. The sole factor that prompted me to hesitate was the call from my mother. She approaches the conversation calmly, simply stating, "Bryce, we need to talk." She begins to enumerate all the issues that have arisen since my assistance ceased. She is quite upset with the Homeowners Association, stating that they are threatening her with a lien. I suggest you take the initiative to resolve this matter on your own. She raises her voice, expressing that I am ungrateful and highlighting all that she has done for me. I escape and subsequently take the family captive. I express to her that she opted to regard me as inferior to others. Please manage it independently. She concludes the call. I observe her forcefully place the phone down. Here is where the situation becomes quite complex. Bernice drives to my hotel. I observe her in the lobby. She possesses an expression that suggests she is on the verge of expressing her thoughts strongly. She approaches and begins to speak, suggesting that you are acting immature and emphasizing the importance of returning home, as we are family. It is not acceptable to disregard our concerns. I interrupt her before she can complete her thoughts. I express to her that she has made her opinion of me quite evident. I am not providing any assistance to you. She approaches me closely, prompting me to step back. She prods me in the chest and states, "You do not have the authority to proceed with this. Payment is due from you." I gently remove her hand from mine. She gazes at me as if I have wronged her, yet all I did was disrupt her theatrical moment. She exits with force, closing the hotel door emphatically behind her. I begin to observe developments unfolding. Uncle Lane expresses on Facebook his frustration with individuals who distance themselves from family during challenging times. I believe that pertains to me. Jared sent me a message expressing his hope that I find satisfaction in my actions towards others. I have not responded. The only action I have taken that might be considered revenge thus far is this. I reached out to the family accountant and informed them that I would not be collecting or sending any family documents. I indicated that all requests should be directed to the respective individuals. They respond by acknowledging the situation, indicating that it may lead to complications. I would like to express that it is not within my responsibilities. I observe every adult in the family. 2 hours later, my mother called to inform me that I had placed them in a difficult situation. Perhaps in the future, you will consider reserving a seat for me. Currently, I receive a new frustrated message on a daily basis. No one is offering an apology, however. There are issues of blame, feelings of guilt, and an increase in demands. I remain steadfast in my position. I exited the group chat, blocked Bernice's contact, and muted my mother for a week. I will no longer assume the role of the fixer. I understand that some may perceive my feelings as trivial, but if you have ever experienced being overlooked for an extended period and then faced with the expectation to step in and resolve issues, you can relate. I am adhering to the law and maintaining integrity, simply choosing not to facilitate their convenience. I am indifferent to the potential loss of their paperwork or any fines they may incur. I will not be treated as a doormat. I have not yet determined my next steps, but I am far from finished. It has become evident that my value is recognized only when there is a specific need for my assistance. Very well, let us observe their reaction in my absence. I am uncertain about the next steps, but I will not concede if you are interested in understanding how the situation develops. Please inform me at your earliest convenience. I will no longer restrain myself. Revision 2. Proceeding to the next round. To be candid, had you informed me that this situation would become so complicated, I would have found it hard to believe. I expected them to either attempt to resolve the issues or simply refrain from further engagement, but that was not the case. It seems that maintaining family pride takes precedence over addressing the underlying issues at hand. I am uncertain whether this is a matter of revenge or simply my decision to move on, but it is remarkable how quickly situations can deteriorate when one ceases to support others. Approximately 2 weeks following the period of silence, I observed that my phone was receiving numerous notifications once more. Neither from my mother nor from Bernice. I have blocked them. However, there are instances involving random numbers and unusual voicemail messages requesting a callback. It appears that the matter involves a board from my mother's neighborhood and an individual from the tax office, rather than the IRS, pertaining to local affairs. I directed all calls to voicemail. BC, it is no longer my responsibility. Kelly is indeed reaching out to me via text. Please be advised. The situation is becoming increasingly challenging here. Individuals are assigning blame to one another. It is quite uncomfortable. She is the only individual who appears to maintain a sense of normalcy, yet I understand her decision to remain uninvolved. I subsequently received an email from Jared. I need to locate my tax files promptly to avoid incurring late fees. I appreciate your efforts, but I am disappointed with the outcome. I reviewed the previous Dropbox in LOL. He has inadvertently removed a significant portion of his own content. The folder is currently disorganized. He sends several additional emails, each increasingly urgent. Ultimately, they agree to provide payment in exchange for assistance. I do not provide a response. I am not pursuing this for financial gain. I have exited the main group chat. However, my Uncle Lane has initiated a new one. Timeless strategy. Bernice states that if Bryce does not take responsibility, they will have to manage the repercussions accordingly. I am responding for the first time in quite a while. It is evident that you are already at the forefront. The most striking aspect is the rapidity with which individuals begin to turn against one another. I have been informed by Kelly that during a recent Sunday dinner, a discussion arose between Jared and Bernice regarding the responsibility of managing the family files. Jared attributes the issue to Bernice's failure to back up the data. Bernice mentioned that her mother was expected to remind her about deadlines. Uncle Lane asserts that none of these events would have transpired had I not traveled to Europe. It seems that there was a rise in voices. A cabinet was forcefully closed. I envision it resembling a poorly produced reality television program. At that point, the situation becomes more tangible. My mother contacts the hotel where I am staying. I remain present. I have not returned to the house. The front desk has informed me that your mother is here inquiring about you. I inform them that I am unavailable. Shortly thereafter, I observed her in the parking lot, pacing and speaking emphatically into her phone. I proceed to the rear exit and make my way to a nearby coffee establishment. She leaves me multiple voicemails, varying from requests to return home to expressions of concern about the impact on our family. I receive a certified letter. This is the first occurrence of this nature in my life. From the attorney representing the family. We have retained a family lawyer. Not because we are extravagant, but because of my grandfather. A trust was established for certain property some time ago. It remains relevant. The letter indicates that the annual review of the trust cannot proceed without my signature. If I am unavailable, there will be a delay. If there are delays, individuals will not receive the payouts they typically expect during the holiday season. I will respond via email. I will be out of the country for the foreseeable future. Included the entire family in the correspondence. I am not, but that information is not known to them. 2 hours later, my mother sends a group text stating, "I hope you are satisfied now. Your actions are causing harm to others." I respond, "Perhaps in the future you will recall how you treated me." This is the point at which individuals begin to exhibit trivial behavior. Uncle Lane shares some subtly critical content on Facebook. Rather than seeking assistance, some individuals choose to sever connections as if I am unaware of their actions. Bernice messaged Kelly, asking if she could reason with her cousin. He is simply exhibiting dramatic behavior. Kelly forwarded the message to me, stating that she would not get involved, but expressed concern about the situation deteriorating. Jared attempts to bypass me by directly contacting the family accountant, requesting that they approve his matters without involving Bryce. The accountant has stated that Bryce's signature is necessary for any matters pertaining to the trust. Jared has reached out to me once more, stating that this behavior is immature and urging me to take the appropriate action. I am returning the receipts from Thanksgiving, along with a screenshot of his comment regarding nobody wanting you back. He responds that it was intended as a joke. You tend to approach matters with excessive seriousness. Indeed, A joke will be presented next week. Mom called Kelly in distress, expressing concern that she might lose the house if the financial situation deteriorates. I understand the situation is unfavorable, but it is evident that she has been utilizing my name as a representative in those meetings for years without ever attending herself. I received a letter from the HOA indicating that I am no longer listed as the household contact. It is imperative that your mother attends the upcoming meeting to avoid incurring a fine. I discard it. It is not my concern. Bernice's business has incurred a late fee due to a missed filing deadline. She sent me a message stating that the responsibility lies with me. I respond, you consistently expressed that I was a disappointment. I believe I am meeting the established expectations. She leaves me on read, despite being the only one who genuinely attempts to connect with me, like Kelly does. She meets with me for coffee and states, I understand your frustration, but they are unlikely to acknowledge their mistakes. She indicates that they have consistently held resentment due to your departure. You demonstrated exceptional intelligence. This situation created a sense of exclusion among them, despite their reluctance to express it openly. I expressed to her that I am not the antagonist in this situation. She stated that you are the only individual who departed. It appears that you are the sole individual subject to consequences. I inquired if she believed they genuinely regard me as an individual. She simply shrugs and states, I believe they are concerned about what you can do for them. At the very least, she demonstrates honesty. The final incident that truly upset me was when Bernice arrived at my hotel once more, accompanied by Uncle Lane. She employs a tactic of invoking guilt, stating that Grandpa would be disappointed in you. We are united and support one another. I noticed that you were not present when I returned home. Lane approaches me directly and insists, please sign the documents so we can proceed. Would you like to proceed to the next step? Begin to show respect towards others. Bernice strikes the table and asserts, you're impossible, before exiting the room. They remain engaged in a discussion with one another. Currently, the situation is quite disorganized. I remain steadfast in my position. I am in full compliance with all legal regulations. I am not undermining any efforts. I will no longer be providing assistance. The trust funds are currently inaccessible. Their documentation is in disarray, and no one is receiving assistance. It is becoming evident that they are beginning to understand that I will not be returning to address the issue. Interestingly, I no longer experience any feelings of regret. I am uncertain about the next steps, but I recognize that I have yet to execute the action that will truly prompt a significant response. They continue to believe that I will yield. This time, if you seek genuine chaos, please anticipate the next update. The situation is improving. This is the final update. This will likely be my final post regarding this matter. I must admit, I did not anticipate it would become this intense. We find ourselves in this situation. I am still quite frustrated reflecting on how Thanksgiving unfolded. At this juncture, it transcends mere frustration. I have decided that I will no longer tolerate this situation, unequivocally. The situation within the family has escalated from uncomfortable to outright disorder. I stand by my decision to encourage their involvement. Could you please remind me where we paused our discussion? It appears that everything is currently immobilized. I have ceased my involvement in providing technical support and managing signatures. I had been avoiding calls, blocking numbers, and returning receipts of their own statements to them. The funds in the trust are currently inaccessible. Bernice's business incurred late fees. Jared is currently facing challenges in managing his situation. Mom's behavior is inappropriate. I have not returned to their residence. I have been staying at the hotel or visiting friends, primarily focusing on my own activities. The unusual aspect was the silence that followed the final outburst. It appears that they all ceased their activities. Eliminate feelings of guilt and cease receiving hostile messages. I assumed they were either excluding me or perhaps finally managing to organize themselves independently, which is amusing. Last night, I found myself at a bar with some former high school friends, engaging in light-hearted conversation about various topics. My phone begins to vibrate continuously. Kelly is consistently reaching out to me via text and Instagram direct messages. She typically does not act in that manner unless there is a significant issue. Her initial message simply states, "Call me." The subsequent matter at hand is causing considerable concern among everyone. I kindly request your response. I temporarily disregard it to assess whether her reaction is exaggerated. However, I noticed that there are approximately 10 missed calls from her. At last, I exit and make the call to her. She appears to be genuinely distressed. She advises Bryce to check his email. Mother is experiencing a decline in her composure. Uncle Lane is considering convening a meeting. Jared is expressing that his entire year has been negatively impacted. Grandmother is in tears. The situation is chaotic, with individuals raising their voices at one another. I open my email and find 5 messages arriving simultaneously. One of the lawyers stated that the deadline for the trust meeting has passed, resulting in a delay of the annual payouts until the next quarter. This indicates that individuals will not be receiving their customary financial support for the holiday season. The family group chat consists entirely of screenshots where members are attributing blame to one another. Individuals are attributing the blame to me. There are claims suggesting that it belongs to Bernice. My mother expressed her uncertainty about how to proceed, followed by a series of dramatic events. Bernice's business is currently facing an increased fine. It appears that BC has once again missed a filing deadline and is attributing the oversight to Jared for not assisting her in locating the necessary documents. He is attributing the lack of organization to me. Lane is attributing the situation to my stubbornness, while my mother suggests that if I hadn't distanced myself from Bryce, we might not be facing this issue. There is a considerable amount of background noise as I am engaged in a phone conversation with Kelly. I am able to perceive it. The situation has escalated to a highly competitive and intense environment, reminiscent of a family contest. I am currently experiencing fatigue. It's not a matter of feeling sorry for myself due to fatigue. Rather, I am simply exhausted by the entire situation. I inquired with Kelly about their current expectations of me. She lets out a sigh and states that they are requesting your return to simply sign the documents and assist in resolving the issue. I informed her that I will not proceed with any actions until an apology is offered, and that decision is conclusive. She states, I am not going to intervene, but it is important for you to be aware that Grandma is not in her right mind. Bernice is considering legal action against Jared, and my mother is discussing the possibility of selling the house to cover her fines. After concluding the call, I take a moment to sit quietly, observing my phone inundated with incoming messages. Uncle Lane has conveyed a message stating, You win, Bryce. Are you satisfied now? Bernice states that you are imposing consequences on the entire family due to your personal challenges. I trust you take pride in your accomplishments. Jared's perspective is traditional, stating, You exhibit childlike behavior. Please sign the documents at your earliest convenience, and we will ensure no further communication is necessary. I do not engage with any of them. The most significant factor is my mother. She finally sends a message that simply states, Can we talk? There is no need for greetings or apologies. It is simply that. I do not respond to her messages. I do not wish to pursue this matter further. Her frustration stems from a loss of control, rather than a newfound concern for my well-being as an individual. I will not provide her the opportunity to return, allowing her to feign that everything is fine between us. I have communicated with the lawyer, stating that I will not be participating in any family events or trust-related matters until I receive a formal written apology from each individual who insulted me during Thanksgiving. There will be no exceptions. Until that time, all requests must be directed through the appropriate legal channels exclusively. I have included the entire family in the correspondence. Kelly responds with, Wow, and thereafter, there is a complete lack of further comments, resulting in an atmosphere of silence. It appears they are preoccupied with assigning blame or attempting to resolve the issues at hand. I am not particularly concerned. I spent the remainder of the evening out and had a satisfactory experience for a change. I understand that some may perceive my actions as excessive. However, after years of being the family's scapegoat and problem solver, I find no reason to lose sleep over it. It is time for them to experience the outcomes of their actions. I did not initiate this situation, but I certainly brought it to a conclusion. This is the current status of the situation. I will not be returning. I will not be providing assistance to anyone in this situation. If they wish to approach, I expect them to do so with genuine respect, as I will not be waiting indefinitely. However, I am confident that I will not repeat this error in the future. Thank you for taking the time to engage with the narrative. If you find yourself in a situation where your family does not treat you well until they require assistance, it is important to establish boundaries. You are not obligated to sacrifice your mental well-being, time, or tranquility for others. I am stepping away.